rumours, Dan, your favourite player in football, Raheem Sterling, could go to Wrexham.
My mate. He could. Looks like he might be, actually. I can't quite... Listen, it's some fall from grace, isn't it? Saying that, his grace and his fall has probably been quite a long time now, hasn't it? I'd say he's very much on his arse at this point. Thankfully, it's there. So,
I mean, if that's being on your arse,
I wish I was that way.
Financially stable, I think it's fair to say. But footballing wise, I mean, when did he last play a game of football? It's been a long time, hasn't it? Let's have it right. So, it's an interesting move. I can't quite work out who benefits from the move, to be honest. I mean, Raheem Sterling, I guess. Wrexham won't be able to get anything like or meet his wage demands that he's been getting at Chelsea, nor Arsenal for that brief spell, and certainly not Man City prior to that as well. So that's not going to work for him. I'm not sure it works for Wrexham, to be honest, because I'm not quite sure what version of Raheem Sterling they're going to get and what they're going to get out of having him in the Championship, because the Championship is absolutely relentless, and I don't think he's ready for that, to be honest. So if Wrexham looking to do a promotion boost and push because of or with help from Raheem Sterling, I don't see it. If this is the Hollywood owner Disney documentary Raheem Sterling signing, I think that actually makes more sense, but I wouldn't be in love with that if I was a Wrexham fan personally.
One of the conversations we're having upstairs is I don't really know how to gauge the levels sometimes, Chloe. So Sterling is a proven Premier League and Champions League and international calibre football over the full length of his career. He just is, regardless of Dan's disparaging attitude towards him or not. These are the facts. He was never a competition winner. He earned his place in some great football sides by merit. Now, the drop off has been somewhat precipitous since leaving Man City, absolutely. But it comes down to it of, do the skills that he still possesses translate to him being just better than the Championship, or is there something that he doesn't have that's going to hamper him at no matter what level of football that he's going to play at? What do you think?
I mean, it'd be quite embarrassing for him if he couldn't deal with that level, because then it really is a fall from grace. If he can go there and, like you said, be the Hollywood star here and completely blow away Wrexham fans, then you know what, fair play. Yeah. You know, he's doing well for himself in that case. I think with what he did in his career, he should be more than capable enough in being one of the biggest players in the Championship. However, I also haven't seen him kick a ball in about 2 years, so I've actually got no idea what his level is. Do you know what I mean? But if I'm looking at it, and automatically he's done it at the top level, he's been in a City side that was absolutely incredible. Therefore, he's still only early 30s.
32?
31 years.
Exactly. So in my mind, I just calculate it to him he should have loads left, but also should just be a step above everybody.
There is a theory, and it's a Chris Pajak theory, so I'll give it credit, of like you get 10 years at the top. And when you start so young, inevitably you have that drop off, and we kind of saw similar happen to Rooney. And we see players like Ronaldo and Messi, and we see even Salah. I know his drop off's been a bit shocking this season, but we see players go longer and longer. We saw James Milner this week level the all-time Premier League appearances.
Did he come on
record? Or was it last weekend?
No, he missed out.
He's meant to level it, but he's not.
But to the point, there's a guy who's 40, and he's still capable of playing at Premier League level, theoretically. It's hard to imagine that someone might reach 31 and just not have it anymore. But I really don't know.
These two guys in there, someone who's used words like did, have, been, has done. You need to do well in that league, you need desire, because every single player he goes up against is going to want to snap him in half, because that's just the way that league is. You know what I mean? And it's like, I'll show you type of thing. And if you've not played games of football for 2 years, you have to look at that individual and go, well, where was your desire to change that? You should have been the guy that, for all the things that Paul said about being a seasoned winner and playing in great teams, and you have to give him credit for that. He's been okay with his fall in the last couple of years, seemingly. and not playing games of football, to go and rock up against Watford and they're pissing down on a Thursday night and then want to split you in half. They're really going to test him on his desire about whether he wants to still be a footballer.
And sorry, Dan, we were talking about the players at Wrexham who have made a success of it, and look, there have been examples where they've gone a couple of divisions up or they've gone for stars and it's worked for them. Like Ben Foster coming in is a short-term win for them, a really big short-term win. But he basically came out of retirement in order to do that, and it was a lot of levels down for him. But he was a Premier League goalkeeper who added something, but he quickly realised, this is now beyond me. Connor Cody's gone there, and it's not. But he's not lasted there by any stretch. But someone like James McLean, who's gone there, who was an absolute warrior at heart, probably can counterbalance anything, a step that he might have lost by wanting it. Stephen Fletcher's another one who's a little bit like that as well. And this is what I'm saying, is that what is the thing that Sterling is stopping Sterling from playing at the top level? If that being gone, is that going to hinder him from performing at a lower level?
I think the fire in the belly is definitely a point worth mentioning, and obviously his motivation for doing it, as you kind of referring to there as well. And Steve references it there in terms of reputation counts for nothing in the Championship. They won't give a shit. If anything, that'll give them more desire to outperform and maybe even leave one on. Raheem Sterling, I think the biggest issue in this kind of is in keeping with my overall thoughts on Raheem Sterling, the footballer. I'm not sure he's got the pace anymore, which kind of made him what he was. Mm-hmm. And some of the footballers you mentioned there, I mean, Lionel Messi, we talk about the greatest to ever do it, in my opinion. But they've reinvented the way they go about their football, and they've changed the way they play because they know maybe they can't do the physical demands of what they used to do. Raheem Sterling's never done that. So if he's still going out there thinking he can just burn past everybody and he'll just run around people, that's not going to happen anymore. So he never really, this is again very much in keeping with me, he never had the technical prowess to make himself anything else. You know what I mean? He never really had the eye for a pass, or he couldn't slot into that 10 role and just become a guy who made things happen. He had creative solutions for everything. He wasn't that guy anyway. He never was. He was a get to the back post, arrive onto things and score goals and run around people, get to the byline and cross. Technical acumen never lended itself to being a better footballer than he ever was.
It's weird because I don't know if I totally agree with that. I always thought he had what it took to be a 10. And
really?
I really do, because I thought he did it well for Liverpool, and this is going back a long time now, of course. But I thought a lot of clubs missed the trick by not playing him more in those kind of positions. And I get what you're saying, but I think there's like being a silky player with it, which I don't think he is. But I don't think he lacks an eye for a pass, and I don't think he's totally bereft of the ability to perform in that. And it's whether he can evolve into that at that level, or are they just going to go, you play on the left wing and you run a bit and you do try to arrive at the back post. His problem is he should have been allowed to mould his game, but City are not having that.
No, granted.
But it should have been done kind. You know what I mean? You should have the grace to be in a football club that allows you to adapt your football. And City don't allow footballers to do that. Man United used to allow, gigs and Scholes.
I don't think he had the skill set. I don't think he had the skill set for that.
I'm not comparing him to Giggs and Scholes. What I mean is that at certain football clubs, you can afford at that time to go from City to Chelsea, who again Chelsea have got no time for anyone anymore. And then of course he's a bit part player at Arsenal. He's a deadline and closing deadline. Let's put a body on the bench kind of footballer. So yeah, what I'm kind of saying is I think he might have missed his window. I
kind of saw him as a explosive over 5 yards, destroy you in that short space of time, get on the end of things and go. City always went to the byline and whipped the ball back in, and he was great at that. They've got a really, really strong centre forward in Kiefer Moore who could do with some service. If he can get him, feeding him, then that makes a load of sense. But there's too many ifs for me. You know what I mean?
Just looking at some of Sterling's stats throughout his career, it's 12-13 when he makes his his breakthrough into the Liverpool team. 19 starts in that season from 24 appearances. It's 33 appearances, 24 starts of the season that follows. That's 13-14, which is obviously, I think all of us would class as the real breakout season for Sterling and that Liverpool team indeed. 9 goals in that season, 5 assists. And then really, it has a couple of seasons of the same when he joins Man City, but then 17-18, It's 33 appearances. It's 18 goals and 11 assists. The following season, 17 goals, 9 assists. The season after that, 1920, it's 20 goals and 1 assist, 10 goals and 7 assists that follow. And then in his final season for City, 13 goals and 5 assists as well, before moving on to Chelsea, where he doesn't really recapture it. In fact, he kind of goes back to what he was prior to the City move, really. Again, those numbers, you can't make them numbers up. No. He still had to be there, and he was still capable of doing those things. I think he's a tremendous footballer, Sterling. I've always liked Sterling. I've always thought he was very, very good. Obviously, it was hard because he just chose not to do it at Liverpool, which meant there's a general antipathy and distaste towards.
Yeah, Brendan Rodgers full stop, didn't he?
I might be, chief amongst the distaste. I can remember one of those goals. Genuinely, outside the Liverpool ones, I remember most of his Liverpool goals, but I remember one of his Man City goals.
I just remember him for that winning that penalty when nobody touched him. That's how I remember.
Yeah, speaking of penalties, he gave good record of missing them. Literally one against Southampton from like 18 yards. That's it. That's kind of, his numbers are frightening. I can never ever argue his numbers. The numbers are ridiculous. Premier League 100 club member. I think I'm right in saying, like, silly, stupid, but he was in such a good Man City team. Not to take away his place in that, but I really, really struggle with anything beyond that conversation when it comes to Sterling. I just don't think he's a great technical footballer.
I'm not sure he's going to come in and be the star man, but because I'm not sure he's ever been the star man. He was always the third or fourth best player in any City side, but that was how good City were.
Yeah,
that's what you need to have. Like, if your fourth player is as good as Raheem Sterling, you're fucking brilliant at football, by the way. So it's whether he can come in and just, I think he'll elevate it. I think he could elevate what was around him. How many times are you getting on the pitch? Is that thing of, you always used to say with like strikers, so like Alan Shearer coming toward the end of his career, why doesn't he just go down and play in League Two? And the answer is because people would just volley him up in the air everywhere. You get nowhere near the ball because people would be too busy webbing him off the pitch. And there is that concern for Sterling. What a scalp he becomes to every player that's on the opposition defensive line or whatever in that. So that is a concern for him. But hey,
do you think it's a showbiz signing?
Yeah. So look, but that's what they do. Like, it's all. This
is another level of it, though. I think. I don't think there's anything quite of this magnitude yet. Connor Cody, we're not.
Yeah, he recovers 50% of any of those seasons where there's some productivity. He's the best player in their squad by a country mile.
The Kiefer Moore point, a really interesting one, because if he does retain that burst of pace and ability to put 2 out of 5 crosses in the round Kiefer Moore, they're onto something, because he is an absolute monster in the air. Like,
it's just that thing of, again, we don't know, because we've never. It's rare to see someone of that caliber go down to the Championship. The way that he's done, he should really be going over to MLS, I think, and going over and having a fun couple of years, get a few more bob, enjoy your football a bit, because that's one of the leagues where you can do that. We'll enjoy the lifestyle over in wherever, LA or New York or whatever. It's just the grind of being in the Championship when you're going through all those random things. But look, Wrexham is 6th in the Championship right now, 47 points, puts them 6 points behind Millwall in 5th. They're in the playoff places right at this point, so they'll be looking to cement that. As far as a message goes, you're Millwall or Hull or Preston below them or Bristol City, and Wrexham are dropping Raheem Sterling into squads. That would make you think this is a different. There's maybe levels to it. There might be a psychological benefit to having Sterling in your team.
I think it depends what you're doing it for, personally, because I think a lot of Wrexham fans, Wrexham players, might see through it if it is, and there's been examples of this down the years, not of Wrexham necessarily, but just Hollywood signings, and I think a lot of times players' noses get put out of joint a little bit by it, because if they believe that he's coming in to genuinely, pull his weight and be up for the fight, because it is a fight down there, and he wants to do it for all the right reasons, I think, totally on board, this guy's going to come and help us. But if it's the other thing and it is just for the documentary, then that can really go the wrong way.
Can I just make a point, though? When Jack Grealish was touted for Everton in the summer, you could make the same case.
100%.
You look at that and go, come on, if he can't get his head straight playing at Manchester City, he's going to go to Everton and he's going to gaz it all over the place.
Throw it in,
who's going to stop him from bevying and who's going to stop him from not taking it all seriously? And he's come in and he has. and obviously injured now, but he's come in and he's elevated the players around him. He's gone, no, I'm not on the way down. I'm boss, and I'm gonna lead by example. I'm gonna set a good example with my character and my experience. And in that regard, if Sterling goes in with that, he could absolutely elevate everything that Wrexham do, because there's lads in that team who will never get anywhere near to what he's
the
done
caliber,
and
absolutely.
as a football
The big
player.
issue there is that Wrexham fans will tell you, we don't want to go in the Premier League at the end of this season because it's too soon. That's either PR or the club saying, actually, we're going to have a go at it.
Yeah.
And if they find themselves there, they've got to change 16 players in their squad or because it just will not cope in the Premier. They're not good enough.
No.
So that 5th consecutive promotion could be more damaging than good for them. And there's a lot of their fans that feel that way.
But interestingly enough, the team just mentioned there, none of them are probably primed for the Premier League. There's going to be 4 or 5 clubs who are thinking exactly the same thing. Because I know Wrexham have come into it from a position even lower down because they've got promoted into where they are now. And a few of the others, Millwall, Preston, Bristol, Hull even, have been in and around the Championship and the upper reaches of it more recently. None of their squads, to my knowledge, are Premier League ready. Far from it.
No, but also, and just on the Wrexham point, signing someone like a Sterling sets you in good stead for getting into the Premier League in its own way. Because all of a sudden you can go, well, we had Raheem Sterling. You know what I mean? And that does actually carry weight with footballers. If someone like Sterling will go there, and I know, look, ultimately, there's probably a lot of people who go just to be close to, to Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney. You know what I mean? The people just would to do that.
There's an intrigue around Wrexham now, isn't it?
Yeah.
If we'd had this conversation 4 years ago, we'd have gone, what are you talking about? You know what I mean? But it's a whole different. But the fact that we've even sat here doing this tells you how far Wrexham have come in a short space of time.
And it might yet not happen, but it's mad that back to back, and now they're having conversations around 31-year-old lads who legitimately, there are half of the teams in the Premier League would probably be willing to have a look at Sterling.
I suggested Fulham, I think, last week.
That's exactly what I said.
For Sterling, yeah.
For every player who isn't quite at that Champions League level anymore,
Been around London loads.
Fulham / Everton.
It felt very Fulham to me, but hey ho.
There you go.
Willian replacements.
Yeah, and Traore's just left.
Yeah.
Exactly. Somebody's got to take the place of Willian in that. And Willian kept taking that place, but not anymore. So someone's got to do it for them. Fascinating if it happens. It will. I mean, I watched that documentary pretty religiously anyway, so it will only add to extra spice and intrigue if it does. So Sterling to Wrexham. Go ahead. That was a clip from the Biased Football podcast. To check out the whole show, simply download the brand new Redmen Plus app or click the link in the description.